Welcome to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom and Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today is my Chicago Bears season preview. Finally, long off season, long preseason, talked about a lot of different things, but finally going to just sit down and do a lot of stuff, actually. Kind of talk about both sides of the ball, do some predictions for the games, the season overall, awards, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of wrap it all up in the bow before we get to our first game tomorrow. Now, full disclosure, this will be kind of different for me. This isn't new Boomer Bust. Actually, it's new to YouTube, but it's been around for a while. I've done it on a smaller podcast site before. So I've done these preview before, but I've never did a game by game prediction. I might have done like a record prediction, but anyway, so this will be different, but should be fun. So let's get into it. There's a lot of stuff. Let's start with just kind of looking at both sides of the ball. Of course, I've talked about the defense recently, but still just going to kind of encapsulate it. But we can start with offense. So offensively, our unit, it's a question mark, but I won't say it's a huge question mark. I think we do have enough proven talent. Despite injury, we have enough proven talent that we believe could be very effective. And then we also have a system and a play creator and I would say a offensive collective coaching staff that believes they can put these playmakers in the best position to succeed. And if anything, we know it's going to be different than what we've seen before. And it's going to be a lot more creative than what we've seen before. So, to expect to see a lot of different, formations, and we talked about the motions and all that, but really just as an offense to see us be in a position to put up points, to sustain drives, to give the defense more to think about than we have in previous regimes. That's something that I think everyone could confidently say is going to be on the table for us. Now, the execution, that's always the question. Devil's in the details. A lot of people, kind of put it all together as you suck or you're good. And we all know that's not true. Execution has a lot of factors to it. So we just got to kind of wait and see what we're going to actually get. And that's, that's football. That's why we play the game. It comes down to making the plays. But I would say the biggest focus, of course, in year 2 is Mitchell Trubisky. And we want to see what type of jumps he has. And not so much this idea of this offensive coach who puts this system together that makes the quarterback look good. It can happen. We've seen it happen. Is it sustainable? Is it built for Super Bowl? Maybe not. But we know it could happen. But if we want more than that, we got to focus on what Trubisky brings to his mental development. Because quarterbacks, that's a lot of what it is. What quarterback vision is he going to have this year? Is it going to be slightly improved over the season, or is he really going to grow to the point where he can start identifying things before the snap, understand what a weakness of the defense is, or if the defense is hiding and shifting, can he react quick enough to see what his next option should be or what the best option is? And I know Trubisky wants to be good. I know he's in the status where he's supposed to be good, so there's a lot of pressure. And so that's nice to want it, but it's more than that. We just got to see if he's able to put it together. And that's probably the number one thing we're going to be looking at. But we feel like we're going to be in a position that we haven't been in a while in games where at any time we can make explosive plays. We can capitalize on mistakes that the defense make and actually turn it into points this year. And then that goes to our running game too with Jordan Howard and really just having a full complementary offense rather than one-dimensional. And, that all falls on Trubisky's shoulders because we know what Jordan Howard can do. But I think we're at a place where we're confident that we can do that. And Offensive line wise, that's probably the most question. Receiver probably should be the question because we got Taylor Gabriel in a moment where he's not surrounded by top, elite receiver like Julio or or a top quarterback like Matt Ryan. We also got, of course, Allen Robinson coming off injury, not playing in the preseason. You got Anthony Miller as a rookie, and you got Kevin White after all his injuries. So they probably should be the question, but for me, it's the offensive line. Kyle Long and his health, his duration. How long will he hold up? Can he hold up? Is it going to affect his play? And then Cody Whitehair and the issue at center. I really don't understand why James Daniels is not the center and Cody moves to guard. But seeing how he does, Eric Kush coming off of injury and also being a first time, projected as a first time, season starter. And we'll see how long he stays and just kind of building continuity. And then Charles Leno and Bobby Massey are average at best. So a lot of questions there. Just the overall health and what we're going to be able to do with the quick decision making, or I would say the more designed plays where it's not so much drop back and make a play, but these design screens, these design spread concepts, all these things, RPOs, play actions, where it's really designed where Trubisky's going to take the ball. Those will be fine. We could hold up quick enough for that, but it's going to be those moments where we have to actually sit back and pass the ball. That's going to be the question about our offensive line, and one that has been mixed results of the last past season. So, that for me is the biggest question going in with offense, but that's me. All right. So then talking about the defense, of course, Khalil Mack's here. We know, and we talked a little bit about that before. I've talked a little bit before, but if you haven't heard, I'll just reiterate. Really for me, we're talking about three players. We're talking about, number one, Leonard Floyd, health, number one. And then number two, how does he, fit into his new role where he's not the, target in the pass protection and he has more one-on-one opportunities. How is he going to complement Khalil Mack and, really put his production up? Then we're talking about number two, Roquan Smith. What type of rookie season is he going to have? And again, for all the talent and everything, that's fine. Rookies are rookies. You can't guarantee what you're going to get out of them as they transition to a new level of football. And then on top of that, of course, he didn't play in the preseason. So really seeing how quickly he acclimates himself to the defense as a whole. And I've mentioned before, how quickly can he add a boost to our coverage? How quickly can that become a new dimension, where we can keep a linebacker on the field that, is a plus in zone coverage and not a negative zone in man coverage, I should say, where we saw a real struggle with that with Timu and Kwiatkowski and all, the third and second tier linebackers in the preseason, where they can be exposed through the flats and covering running backs. But how quickly will Roquan make that a positive for us? And then number three, and it's probably more than three, but my three, the third would be Kyle Fuller. Can he reproduce last year? And not only that, while last year was good, and I'm not like stats. That's not what it's about. For me, turnovers is bigger than stats. It's more about not his individual stats, but putting the offense in favorable positions and things of that nature and giving us more opportunities. So not only reproducing last year where he was ultra competitive and stuck with people, but can he start turning some of those disruptions into turnovers, which would go a long way, as the Bears haven't been, top flight in turnovers for a while since the Urlacher era, which really defined that era too. While we were a great defense, turnovers was a big thing. That was one year where we were darn near close to averaging a couple touchdowns a game defensively. That was, early in the season, but that was crazy, when we had Peanut and those guys. But those are the type of things that take a exorbitant amount of pressure off your offense and really allows them to be a lot better. So, Kyle Fuller in particular, but the team as a whole, what are we going to start talking about as far as turnovers, and can he reproduce that? Or did he get paid and is his play going to kind of regress to where it's been? We'll have to see. I think those three players, of course, Khalil Mack is number one on the list, but those three players I think are going to be the real key to the engine of what we do on defense. But overall, I would think we have a pretty good unit that, I think is, more than good. I think if I had to rank it, I would say we are top 5 as a run stopping unit. I think that's where we are best. I think our corners understand, Kyle Fuller, especially understands his fit in the run game, not afraid to tackle. I think our D linemen are built to stop the run. I think now our outside linebacker is a little different, but I think, Khalil Mack could do both, of course, and I think Leonard Floyd is more than capable. But even if you're talking about our rotational guys, I think that's what we're good at, setting the edge and funneling the ball to the middle where we can make plays. And then, of course, with Danny Trevathan and Roquan Smith, a lot of range. So I think run stopping is where we're really strong at, and I expect us to excel at that. It's just a question of then when we got pass-happy teams or when we take away the run, how will the corners react? Will the pass rush get home enough? Not get home ever, but get home enough to make our secondary that much more better. So there we go with defense. So that's kind of talk about the units. Of course, our special teams. A lot of people excited about the new special teams coordinator. I can't say, there are things you can do in special teams that are little wrinkles, but I can't say I saw anything special from the Bears in the preseason. Now we'll see in the offseason if that's different, but I wonder if who's if we're going to have a returner that kind of stands out. We've used different returners in the past, even in the same season. So even though there's a starter for week 1, it might not stay the starter. I wonder if Tariq Cohen might just claim that position as kickoff and end punt, or even if no one claims the position, I wonder if someone's going to rise up and be, more of a staple as a returner, because I'm not convinced that we had anything dynamic at return game recently. Of course, Tariq Cohen showed some flashes last year, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe he might just steal that spotlight. That would be nice to have a consistent returner there. So that's just kind of the overview of the units. And I guess I could talk about Matt Nagy, but that's not a lot. We just kind of got to see. A lot of people keep talking about Kansas City, and it blows my mind how much I have to say this. The man was offensive coordinator for a year. The man called plays for less than 5 games. Everyone keeps talking about what he did in Kansas City. You got to understand the dynamic of a coaching staff. They're not all the same. Offensive coordinators are not built equally. And so when you're an offensive coordinator under Andy Reid, you aren't doing as much as, say, the offensive coordinator for the Steelers with Mike Tomlin. It's not the same dynamic. And so while Matt Nagy has come from Kansas City in Philly with Andy Reid, and you want to point to that as kind of his foundation, that's not who he is. Even as coordinator for 1 year, you can't point and say that's who he is. Now, it's very likely he'll take a lot of elements that you saw there. But again, we still got to see what his style and brand of football is going to be. It's not just going to be what you saw in Kansas City. And it's silly because, oh my God, it was one preseason game, and I might have mentioned it, where a play went to the tight end and they were just like, see, that's a Travis Kelce play. Like, okay, come on. Really? I mean, that's a Travis Kelce play. It's people connect dots that's not there. But anyway, so with Matt Nagy, that's where a lot of people talk about, especially with Fangio coming back. We know that Nagy is going to be hands off with the defense. So it's rightfully so we talk about the offense. But I would say with Matt Nagy, the real question that I'm looking at is, what is his time management going to be like, and his kind of his play calling. And so we know he's calling plays. We want to see what type of tempo he goes at, what type of situational stuff he does, and then the head coaching duties. How does he manage the clock? How does he take challenges? All those different things. We know John Fox would never go for it at the end of the half and just kind of let the clock run out. Is that his style? So it's kind of more of those managerial things that we'll see from Nagy, which I can't speculate on. We just kind of got to see. It's his first time as a head coach. So there's that. Now, let's get into the part that a lot of people want to talk about. Let's predict some of these games, and it's going to be interesting. I hesitate doing this because there's so many factors, but we can kind of talk it through. And I'll try to be as quick as possible. But I will say, don't try to come at me. Well, how could you pick the Bears to lose? Okay, we're not going to win 16 games. I mean, we could, but I don't think we're going to win 16 games. And just because I think the Bears might lose a game doesn't mean I'm not a fan or a Packer fan like everybody keeps saying. It's stupid. But, fans can be realistic. And so we can talk about the reasons why not we think we're going to win or lose. But at the same time, when the game starts, I'm rooting for the Bears to win. So that's not even a question. So let's just get that disclaimer out the way. But let's go with week 1, Green Bay Packers. This is a tough one. We're at the Packers. We got, Khalil Mack in the fold. So a lot of people Khalil Mack's going to kill Aaron Rodgers. It's just a one-on-one game. But so we got Bears Packers. Packer week. I hate the Packers. I respect Aaron Rodgers. I hate the Packers. This is tough. The Packers have gone through a lot of facelift changes. The offensive line is pretty steady, and then you got Aaron Rodgers, so that's pretty much the strongest foundation you need. But defensively, Clay Matthews has not been the same player that he once was. Nick Perry is solid, really good, but I don't think he's a leader or anything. And their secondary has always been a question for years. And so, not always, but years they've been a question. So Aaron Rodgers, you can't discount him. I think the Bears have the tools to put it in Aaron Rodgers' hand most of the game, which I think he's fine with. As long as we stay disciplined, I think we will definitely stop the run, and I think we can limit the touchdowns. They're going to move down the field, but I think we could limit the touchdowns as long as we get the pressure that we feel we're going to get, and you kind of limit, limit the mistakes. So then I think it comes down to the offense and what they're going to be able to do against a defense that has some vulnerability, especially in the passing game. So, again, the receiver is a lot of questions that we haven't got to see. So it's hard, but I think that's just what this game is going to come down to. It's going to come down to, the onus on the offense taking advantage of every opportunity they get, because I won't say it's a shootout, but the Bears are going to be able to limit Aaron Rodgers sometimes, but not all the time. And so I think that it's going to really fall on the offense. But if I'm saying that and I'm saying Trubisky versus Aaron Rodgers, I have to take the Packers at home week 1. And see, yeah, I would have to take Packers at home week 1, as we're seeing a lot of pieces get acclimated to playing together. Whereas the Packers got a lot more continuity than we have. And, it's week 1. So, but I think it's going to be a close game. Definitely going to be a close game. So that's 0-1. And then, we turn around, play another night game against the Seahawks at home. Man, they really been hurting Russell Wilson. They got a couple pieces, but that offensive line is just so terrible. And that defense is nothing like it used to be. So, I definitely think our offense is going to, be able to put up points. And I think our defense, I think Khalil Mack really makes the difference in this. I think our defense would be susceptible to some of the Russ Wilson magic before, but with Khalil Mack, I think we're going to suffocate him a little more than we would have in the past, and that's going to limit the magic. I'll take the Bears beating the Seahawks, so that's 1-1. Then we got the Cardinals, another away game. Arizona, they're trotting out Bradford. We'll see if Rosen is in by week 3. Larry's back, but their receiving core is really depleted. The defense hasn't been the same since their coordinator left. They went with kind of the undersized, running it around, crazy blitz stuff. And you still got Dejon Buchanan, who's decent. You got Budda Baker, but you lose Tyrann Mathieu. You still got Peterson, who could lock people down. That gives you a lot of flexibility. So their defense is still versatile, and they could get some really nasty looks to Trubisky in the offense. But I think we'll score, and we'll definitely be able to stop Bradford, who we saw in Minnesota prior to. But I like us in this game too, because I think Bradford can get the ball turned over, and we will be able to put our offense in position with a short field where we could actually score. So I'm going to take us in that. That starts us at 2-1. Tampa Bay the week after that, and we're at home. It's always a good game against Tampa. We cannot stop Mike Evans. A lot of people can't, but Mike Evans especially has gave us fits, and they're going to do that back shoulder fade, especially with our guys. I mean, we could beat them up and play physical, but and a lot of times we played off on him and got destroyed. So we might have to just play really tight cover 2 and try to get after the quarterback, but we got to see. I forgot how long Jameis Winston he comes back against the Bears. So Jameis Winston will be playing in his first game if they choose to start him. That quarterback continuity, I think, is really going to mess up their offense and give our defense opportunity. And then defensively, they still get after it pretty well. I don't trust the offensive line against the Tampa Bay D-line at all. I think this is going to be a close game, but again, with the Winston thing, I take us. So that's 3-1. I'm being optimistic. Now, after that, we go bye week. Then we go to the Miami Dolphins, and we're at Miami. Miami, Adam Gase, actually Loggins is over there too. So a little reunion going on. But Ryan Tannehill, that offensive line, and no Jarvis Landry, I don't like their offense at all. I think that's a really good game for Khalil Mack and Leonard Floyd, because Jawan James is not good to me, and Laramie Tunsil, while athletic, hasn't established himself yet as a left tackle. We'll see this year. This could be a great year for him. And so that's going to be a real question. I assume Mack is going to go against James most of the time, and so that leaves Leonard Floyd against Tunsil. So, but I think this is a game to really focus in on those two, because the offensive line is leaky, but their tackles is really shaky. And I think if Tannehill starts getting the heat put on him, he doesn't have a whole bunch of outlets that he can rely on. I think we could really choke up and play good defense on them. And then as far as our offense versus their defense, again, no Ndamukong Suh. Cameron Wake is still there. I mean, but that defense is kind of changing over. They're not as really good as they used to be. So Miami overall, I think, is a real good game for us to take. It is an away game, but I like us in that game. So I'm going to go 4-1. Patriots, and it's away. I mean, Tom Brady's going to do what he's going to do. We're not going to shut him down completely ever. So there's that. And then you got our offense versus that defense, which is turning over, but at the same time, new coordinator, but it's Belichick. Belichick had him ready to play. If you're talking about scheming, and one of the big things we have is scheming, with Matt Nagy. I don't want to pick Matt Nagy in the scheme off versus Belichick, so I have to get a Patriots that. So you're talking about 4-2 right now. So then we go against the New York Jets, who I really like their defense right now. I think they're on the come up. A lot of people not giving them as much credit. I think they're on the come up. Now Darnold, that's a whole nother question. Even if he does well going against us, that's a rookie. They do got weapons though. The Jets are a little better than people give them credit. And I think this would definitely be a close game. I'm sorry. The Patriots game is at our house. But anyway, the Jets game is also at our house. I think it's going to be a close game. October is going to be starting to get cold, but they're cold. We're the team too. I like us against the Jets. So 5-1. At the Bills could be sneaky good too. But their quarterback, a lot of these teams, and that's why I like our schedule. A lot of these teams got quarterback situations. So we don't know who's going to be playing at that moment. But I think that, and they don't really have the weapons they used to have at receiver. Kelvin Benjamin, big body receivers give us issues, but he's not a dynamo that's just going to take over the whole game. And then defensively, they're still trying to find their footing. I think they got a hodgepodge of guys on that roster that some fit one scheme, some fit another because of the coach switching. McDermott has them firing, on as far as, getting after the ball. But I don't know if they had those dynamic playmakers. The fact that it's away in Buffalo gives me some pause. But I like us. I'm going to take it. Take us again. So that is, and I'm like seriously losing count. 6-2. Then we got Detroit at home. Detroit seems to be on a downswing, but Stafford, I think we play well against him. But Stafford has shown that he can be a quarterback that can get it done. I don't trust their defense though. So I'm going to take us 7-2. Vikings at home. The real question is Kirk Cousins, but honestly, after seeing all them quarterbacks work well in that offense last year, I'm not too worried that Kirk Cousins could be effective. They don't have the OC though, and we got to see how much that affects them. But yeah, that team's pretty stacked. We're at home. I don't know. I think that team's pretty stacked, and I still think that defense is going to give Trubisky real fit. So I gotta take the L there. So we're at 6-3. We go right back to the Lions. So we're at their spot. It's tough. I think Detroit's going to play better at home. So we'll go there. So 6-4. Then at New York, I don't trust Eli at all. I don't trust that offensive line at all. Saquon adds another dimension, and OBJ could get loose. So I think big plays are still a thing that could happen. But in their defense, I would say is better than our offense as I know it right now. I think that's a close game. And it's a away game, but I just really don't trust Eli, so I'll take us in that one, putting us at 7-3. Then we play the LA Rams at home. The Rams are good, man. They're loaded. I can't go against that. So that's 7-4. Then we got, we got Green Bay at home this time. I like us at home. So let's go back over this again. Week 1, I got a loss. That's 0-1. Seahawks, I got a win. That's 1-1. Cardinals, I got us with a win. That's 2-1. Bucks, I got us with a win. That's 3-1. Dolphins win 4-1. Patriots lost. That's 4-2. Jets win. That's 5-2. Bills, I got a win. That's 6-2. Lions, I got a win. That's 7-2. Vikings, I got a loss. That's 7-3. Lions, I got a loss. That's 7-4. Giants, I got a win. That's 8-4. Rams, I got a loss. That's 8-5. Packers, I got to win. That's 9-5. Okay, now we're on track. And then the 49ers at San Fran. Jimmy Garoppolo, I think really, he didn't destroy us, but I thought he carved us up pretty well last year. The offensive line is really steady. The defense is still trying to put it together, but I really like the 49ers as a sleeper team, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take them 9-6. And then the Vikings at home, that's tough, even if it wasn't at home. I would like to say we'll split with the Vikings. But this is playoff implications. I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears because if it gets down to this, I want us to, well, okay, I'm not going to be biased. Assuming everybody's healthy and it's at home for the Vikings and this is a playoff implication. Woo! This might sound blasphemous. I'm going to take my gut says take the Vikings. So then that puts us at 9-7 for the year. Honestly, again, I thought we had one of the best schedules because we're playing against divisions that have a lot of quarterback controversy and that aren't particularly strong divisions. But the flip side of that is that our division is pretty good. And so I think where we're going to get the most challenges from our division, even though that's the place you want to win, because winning in your division is the quickest way to get in the playoffs. But the NFC North is tough. So I can't sit here and say, yeah, that's where we're going to make our bones. No, I think we're going to have to make our bones against the AFC East and the NFC West. That's really where we're going to have to make our bones. Even though I got a split in those two, I think the Rams is the only one that I really don't feel good about. But the other two, Cardinals, Seahawks, I think we could win. 49ers, I think it'll be a game and I think we definitely could win it. Rams is the only one I'm thinking, might be a little tough. So between the AFC East and the AFC or NFC West, you talking about Patriots and Rams are the two teams that I'm really worried about. So if we can rack up those wins, that's going to go a lot further than counting on us beating our division opponents 2 times each. So there's that. So 9-7 would be amazing. 9-7 could get you in the playoffs depending on, how things shake out. But it would definitely be a drastic improvement. It's tough picking these games, and I would never normally do it. This is for fun. I'm not writing it in law. These are just predictions. Because so much changes. Injuries can change with us. Injuries can change with them. Trades could happen. People could get switched on the roster in the depth chart. Things could happen. So I'm not by any way saying this is law. This is just a guess. It's an educated guess. So 9-7 though, I would be really happy with that season. I don't know about everybody else. So then, yeah, sticking with predictions, I think as far as the offensive MVP, who's going to really, be the biggest factor in our offense, or who I think I should say is going to be a big factor in our offense. And this is always tough doing this because then you pick somebody and they get hurt. I think I picked Kyle Long one year and he got hurt, but yeah, so it's always tough. But if I would have to say who's in position to be our MVP, I would say it's Trey Burton. And that might not be the one everybody's thinking. Allen Robinson, I want to say, but we have literally not seen him and Trubisky play together. So it could be possible. There's the question of him coming off injury. There's the question of him meshing with Trubisky. It's possible. But I think if I'm looking at who's in position to make the biggest impact, it's definitely Trey Burton. Even though Adam Shaheen getting hurt hurts it because Adam Shaheen could have took away a lot of the blocking duties. Even though people say Burton's a good blocker, I'm like, he, for his size, yes, but he's not the guy I want blocking. So Burton might have to be asked to do a little more with the absence of Shaheen. However, I think as far as a mismatch piece, him and Anthony Miller are the mismatch pieces. But I think Trey Burton has more confidence from Trubisky and Nagy. So I think they're really going to put him in position to do a number of things. as H-back and kind of do the screens and slip out the backfield. I think Trey Burton's going to be a real key piece as the classic safety valve as a tight end. As far as defense, now, of course, everybody wants to say Khalil Mack. And I'm going to say Khalil Mack too. I mean, how do you not pick Khalil Mack? It's the nature of the game. Elite pass rusher like that changes the dynamic, whether he gets sacks or not. If he causing pressure and disrupting line and changing game plans, that's huge. So I would, it's hard to pick against Khalil Mack as our defensive MVP. As far as who I think our best rookie is going to be, I naturally want to say Anthony Miller, but I'm going to go ahead and take a leap of faith on this. I think our best rookie is going to be James Daniels. I think there's going to be a point where the coaching staff makes that change. James comes to the starting lineup, and not only that, I think before he comes to the starting lineup, he's going to do spot duty when someone's hurt or needs to come out of the game. And he's going to look good at different positions, and then he's going to get in the starting lineup and just show us how versatile he can be. So I think, honestly, James Daniels is in position to be the best rookie on the team. So there's that. I think that's mostly it. I mean, I talked a long time. So yeah, we talked about the games. We talked about the units. All those predictions and that fun stuff. I think overall, if I just had to say, previewing our Chicago Bears, we are at a turning point where we're not, that people say the arrows going up and stuff. That's fine, but we're not there yet. We're at a turning point, kind of like, and I hate to say this, kind of like the LA Rams last year. We're at a point where you put in the talent, and you put in the roster, and you put in the structure, and you got the schedule, and you ready to succeed. It's just going out and executing. And barring injuries, of course, if we don't execute this year, it just falls on us. It's nothing to do with the outside factors. It just falls on us not executing in our individual positions and as a unit. So we're at that point now where we can make a statement. We can win a good amount of games, and it's just up to the teams going out there and performing. Yes, there's a lot of continuity and gelling that needs to go on, and that is a factor, but the fact is who we're playing and the talent we got, especially the teams we're playing, they got a lot of turnover too. So that's not going to be an excuse. We got to definitely go out there and show that we're ready as a culture and a team to compete. And so either we're going to show that, or we're going to show that we're still where we are before, where the culture's not where it's supposed to be. So yeah, that's overall. And then I will be recapping each game. Just to give you a heads up, I'll be doing like grades. So I'll grade the offense, the defense, the special teams. And then of course, I'll start off with like an overview of the game. Like we'll talk about the important parts. If there is a big penalty, a game winning play, game losing play, a controversial call, whatever, we'll do all that. I'll grade out kind of each unit and their performance, and then I'll talk about next week and kind of recommendations and what I would like to see going forward to help us get better. So that's how that'll break down. So anyway, that's it for me. Go to comment section. The game starts tomorrow. Season starts tomorrow. Tell me what you think about our Chicago Bears for 2018. Comment below, share it around, get the convo started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.